Hello, and welcome back to Everything's Fine, probably your weekly reminder that while some parts of the world might be falling apart, other parts aren't, or are at least being frantically sellotated back together again by amazing people. This week, we've got a smorgasbord of news, stories, and human weirdness to take your mind off the chaos. It's a regular buffet of brilliant things that have happened, served up by slightly less brilliant people who are, tragically enough, doing our best. We've got stories ranging from heroic clowns in war zones, really, to people rewilding parts of Scotland, although if you've ever been on the Sucky Road on a Friday night, you'll have been more than aware that Scottish wildness is thriving. As always, I'm joined by my brilliant and slightly worrying crew. We've got Shelly, who's got her finger on all the human rights stuff that makes you want to cry and clap at the same time. Stu, who appeals for a plea for a level of sanity he can only aspire to himself and can surprise you in ways you had no idea you could be surprised. And our newest recruit, Gemma, cousin, chaos coordinator, and occasional voice of reason. Sometimes. That's right, we are now a four-host operation. We've gone full Beatles. Or ABBA, depending on how much glitter turns up in the studio. We are basically a proper ensemble. A dysfunctional one, obviously, but still. It counts. How are we all this week?
You didn't say anything about yourself. You gave us a little headline.
Yeah.
What should we say about Jim? Shirley?
He styles his beard using Kirby grips, we've just discovered.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Well, that's a skill. And it's nice. It is a nice beard, isn't it? So we'll just have to describe it, won't we? Because there's no images. But it's full. It's a manly beard. And very curly.
Yeah,
So,
it gets 10 out of 10.
So that's Jim, everybody. So, yeah, apart from that, how is everybody?
I'm good. How was your holiday?
Yeah, that was lovely. I went to Cape Verde. I had a few experiences out there, which was nice.
So you had experiences. I'm going to have to pick you up.
Well, I think the highlight was I booked him for this relaxing well-being day. And it was at the local salt plantation where they produce salt. So they haven't really got much they haven't really got much in the way of tourism. It's just like effectively going to, like the chemical factory in Norwich, just going for like a swim in a chemical pool or whatever. But anyway, so they'd kind of said this really good for you, this like well-being salt pool. So I went and I booked him for the salt massage. And so I went in, I was laying there, and there was like salt rocks, and they were like rubbing it into my skin. It's really painful, mixed with oils and water. It's rubbing it in, it's really hot, and like covered in salt. He then said, right, go and sit outside, and then I'll do the others. So anyway, they did the others, but because I was first, I sat outside and I didn't have any bloody suntan lotion on, so my shoulders cut. I was like a lump of pork sitting in the sun. Salted
yeah, I was going to say, did you turn into crackling?
My shoulders pretty much turned into crackling.
They're basically just seasoning you.
So they seasoned me. So then they said, right, come on, let's go down to the salt pool now. And obviously it's full of salt. They said, go on your back, don't go on your front. I've never been in that situation, but the salt lifts you up. So initially I went on my front and then my legs went up in the air. So I was really struggling to sort of get back under the pool. So I had a little swim in there and so on and so forth. He said, right, come out now. This is the next stage. So then there's this like woman, she's got all this like salt mud off the bottom of the pool. Next thing, she's like rubbing it all into me. So I'm like standing there. And I was just like, do I look her in the eye while she's doing this? We were just sort of standing there, she's rubbing all this mud into me now. I was already sort of covered in salt. So I got covered in the mud. I went back into the pool and I wasn't really listening to what he was saying. So he said, go and like wash it all off now. I didn't realise you shouldn't do it on your face. So I started washing my face, and the salt, I could not see. My eyes, they just closed, and I was just walking around and I couldn't see. I was a bit worried but I didn't want to tell the bloke I'd done it. So I was trying to be cool and not show him that
Right,
I
at
had
that point, you're trying to be cool.
What point?
I mean, that
I'm
ship
covered in
was
mud, I'm
sailed,
covered in
mate.
salt. Now just act cool.
So
Hello, ladies.
so I came out like walking. My eyes were like really, really red, but that wasn't the worst bit of it. When I was in the swimming around, my anus really started hurting. It was so painful. I think a good word for it would be like it was sort of smarting. It was smarting. The anus was smarting. And I was just like, it's really painful. And I was like looking around, and everyone else was okay. Anyway, I was just really sort of panicking. And honestly, that the pain was just unbelievable. Sort of covered in this mud and so. It's meant to be a well-being day. I sort of plucked up the courage in the end, and I spoke to a couple of guys, and I said, "Can I just say, is
My anus hurts.
yeah, pretty much." I was kind that really. Did you get that at all? And that they said, "Well, yeah, a little bit." So then I asked some other people as well on the tour, and I said, "You know, when you're in there, does your arse hurt a bit?" And they said, "Yeah, a bit." So that made me feel a bit better because I thought it was just me. I thought, what's wrong with my? It wasn't my arse; it was my anus. Oh, so painful. So yeah, we finished that. He went and had a little cup of tea to detox. Then they took us back to my hotel, and I was just broken for the rest of the day. I had to go to sleep with the lights off. So what I would say is, if you are going to do that well-being in Cape Verde, be aware that you may get a sore anus.
Thanks for that, Stuart.
And I'll give you one more.
Oh, there's more. Jesus.
Before you move on, Stu, how many people did you survey about their anus?
I thought you it was going to be like people who worked. I didn't realise you were just going around asking random.
Well, I was because I just thought this can't just be me.
You just drop it into conversation.
No, I was just not dropping it in. I'd never met him before. I was just like, you've been.
Excuse me, mate.
Yes, yeah. Excuse me, you've been in there. Does your arse hurt? Well, you can't beat round the bush, can you?
How is finding out that everyone else's arse hurt going to benefit you?
Well, I didn't know if I had a medical problem.
Oh, you've got a medical problem.
So my other top tip from Cape Verde is when you go into some of the shops, not all the shops because they're lovely people, some of the shops are a cover for drugs. All right. I just went in to buy a fridge magnet. So I went in.
And he came out with a load of coke.
Well, I got my magnet, and he was like, I shouldn't do the accent, should I?
Don't do that.
All right. Okay, you kind of need to though, but no, I won't do it. Well, anyway, so he says, "Oh, just that is it?" I was like, "Yes, please." He said, "You like you like?" I won't do it. It's like you like smoking. I was like, "What?" He's going, "You want some smoke?" And I was like,
Will help with the pain in your
I
arse.
said, well, I was like, no. I go, just the fridge magnet, please. He's going, you like the Bob Marley cigarettes? And I was like, what's a Bob Marley cigarette? Do you want any of the magic powders, special powders? And I was, no, again, just the fridge magnet. And that wasn't the first time that had happened either. So I would say be careful in the shops. You can end up with more than you bargained for if
Accidentally said, yes, I'd like to buy
yeah
some trucks.
yeah
Good. And anyone else been up to much? Okay, buckle up. Keep your arms inside the podcast at all times. And if you hear someone shouting everything's fine in the background, that's just us trying to convince ourselves. By the end of this episode, you'll be amazed, you'll be inspired. You might even snort your morning coffee. Who knows? We're starting today with something important because this week marks Transgender Day of Remembrance, a day that only exists because apparently society still hasn't mastered the concept of don't be horrible to other human beings.
This is a day that's been set to observe and honour the memory of all transgender people who lost their lives in acts of anti-trans violence. And I will be honest, I was not actually aware of Transgender Remembrance Day, which is pretty shocking considering it actually started in 1999. So it has been round for more than 20 years. Yeah, but it's sort of sad, isn't it, that something so worthy gets so little coverage, like in the media. It was started, though, as a vigil to remember a woman called Rita Hester, who was a Black transgender woman, and she was killed in 1998. And it was then organised by trans advocate Gwendolyn Ann Smith. And then it has then continued from that point onwards, be marked every year across the world. So it's also just put out there as well, just to raise awareness of the violence, bigotry, and stigma that trans and non-binary people face on a daily basis. It has been marked within the LGBT communities this year and probably years previous with candlelight vigils in lots of different places. But then there's also been like online communities coming together as well. I actually went on to one of them and they were all talking about people they knew and sort of honouring people they knew and sharing stories together as well. Zach Polanski actually gave a speech at the vigil in London, and it was quoted in Pink News that he gave his speech to a sea of tearful faces, which I think that image that's sort of put in my mind serves as like a strong reminder, really, that these are our fellow human beings and deserve to feel as safe as everybody else does. So I think I will definitely mark this day going forward. It is now on my calendar. But as a sudden change, when I was actually doing this research to find out more about this day, and I was looking through all the LGBT news, I actually stumbled across some lamb news.
Well, this is a sudden change of tone, but okay.
Yes.
You change into lamb news. Go on.
Is this transgender lamb news?
No, it is actually gay lamb news.
Gay lamb news.
So
Okay.
it is relevant to this is just how I found out about it, because I was going through all like the LGBT sort of, communities and news outlets and found this story, and it is up to date lamb news. It is not more than 20 years old, like
Yeah,
my
this
last
is-
piece of lamb news.
Jim, have we got a sting for this as yet?
No.
I mean, this is, it's a regular feature.
What,
Yeah.
like some kind of like lamb news headline?
Yeah.
News like meh, 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 meh.
There we go. Got one now.
Yeah,
That's
you can
very
have
good,
that.
actually. We've got to use that.
Yeah, over to the lamb news desk briefly. So
Yeah.
beautiful.
This is a hell of a tonal shift, I've got to say. But go on, hit us with your gay lamb news then, Shelly.
This is like the one show, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, that was horrific. Anyway, it was me looking into this lovely Transgender Day of Remembrance thing, and it was really moving, and I loved it. And then it was another beautiful bonus gift that I then got with it. It was
Yeah.
so
Well,
here
when you mentioned in advance that you had some lamb news you were going to put in, I wasn't necessarily expecting it to come here, but that's okay. Go for it.
So, did you know that 1 in 12 sheep are gay?
I'm going to level with you, Shelley. No, somehow that passed me by.
I wasn't really expecting you to seriously mull that over.
Well, the stew is seriously.
I think I might have heard something about gay animals recently.
Yeah, so apparently, though, it's not just sheep.
Yeah.
Scientists have documented that there's same-sex behaviour in over about 15,000 species. But this isn't just the news, though. This just leads me on. So sadly for sheep, though, if they are gay, they will usually get sent to slaughter as they won't breed. But a German non-profit organisation called Rainbow Wool has been rescuing the sheep and using their wool for fashion. and their wool was used last week in well, not that just their wool, but clothing items made from their wool was actually showing this full collection of gay sheep wool in a New York fashion show last week.
So you said they send the gay sheep to slaughter. Did you think it tastes any different, gay meat, as opposed to, what you get on a Sunday dinner? I don't know. Who knows? Might do. I don't know.
I mean, I'm assuming probably not. But the other good thing out of this is you can actually if you go to the Rainbow Wool
Yeah,
organization, you can sponsor a gay sheep.
fantastic. That's a great Christmas present for my dad. I think he'd really appreciate that. How much?
I don't know. Like,
I laugh because I know Stu's dad.
Yeah. He always says, "What do you want for Christmas?" There's nothing I need. Oh, I'll stop you there, Dad. I think
What do you buy the person who has everything?
absolutely.
Sponsor a gay sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's brilliant. So thank you to the transgender community.
Yeah.
Little update, you can sponsor for €1 a day.
Is that all it is?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, that's no, hang on, €1 a day.
Yeah.
So for like a whole year.
No, that's a day.
But
So,
you're just going to sponsor a sheep for a day.
well, yes, what Gemma said. I'll do a
I
day.
think Gemma quite said that. She said that's how much it costs.
I'll do a day. We could all chuck €1 in. Let's all do a day each. Come on, it's Christmas.
How I've got to now move from that on to my next story.
Yeah, this is going to be another tonal change, isn't it?
Yeah, but well, it's because you put all my news in one go because I'm your favourite.
Yeah, but because I didn't realise you were going to put that in there and quite the tangents that was going to take us off. I had this nice little close down about what an important moving story that was, moving us on to another. Well, it is, yeah. But the minute you chuck you can sponsor gay sheep in there and set Stu off on one of his tangents, it's all gone, isn't it?
Well, I actually think it's a really good thing. Can we have a shout out for who it is? What is it called? If anyone genuinely wants to have a look at that, what is it called?
Rainbow Wool.
Rainbow Wool. So everyone have a look at Rainbow Wool, and it sounds like really nice idea, and got products on there you can buy as well. So it's Christmas. Jump in, have a look.
Yeah.
Anyway,
If I could just take a moment to remind people that we started that about Transgender Remembrance Day, 20th.
You can probably sponsor a transgender person as well. I'm sure they'd be quite happy for the sponsorship.
Can you sponsor a transgender sheep?
well, yeah, we've just identified that.
Well, not transgender.
Oh no, they're gay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm sure. Can sheep be transgender? Is there science to back that up?
I suppose it would be difficult to say, wouldn't it? Because they don't have to. I guess they don't have normal sheep sort of gender norms or anything, do they?
I wouldn't have thought so.
Shall we move on? So,
yeah, sorry. When I said, "Oh, don't worry, all my stories fit onto one page," well, that's gone out of the window now, hasn't it? Anyway, back down to earth with a crash, because I have another very worthy thing to talk about. It is today, in actual fact, today, 25th of November, the International Day of the Elimination of Violence Against Women and Girls. So,
it's finished, is it? That was good. Thank God for that.
No, it hasn't. It has only just begun. Because thank you for that. That leads me in beautifully into the next thing that I wanted to say. So this is today will actually then mark the first day of the Unite campaign, which will be 16 days of activism to end digital violence against women and girls, which then ends on the 10th of December, which is International Human Rights Day. So it all beautifully links up. And so that campaign is going to be asking governments to act and ensure tech companies provide safety online and remove harmful content. They also want the donors for tech companies to provide funding to feminist organizations to end violence and raise the voice of survivors, which I think is another very beautiful thing. So
Yeah, I
everything
mean,
has been beautiful
yeah.
so far.
Interestingly enough, I was listening to Women's Hour today on Radio 4, and they did feature this. So, yeah, there's a lot being done, isn't there? And moving quickly, policies are moving quickly as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
So, and the commentator on there was saying, this is just very much the start of it. So it's good, isn't it, that it's got some momentum and is being highlighted.
Yeah, so the UN's theme this year is basically stop hurting women. Feels like a pretty low bar, but apparently that still needs broadcasting. But good to hear some positive things that happen. Well, hopefully happening in that space. Our next story is some proper history making. I mean, your grandchildren should learn about this in school type news. Because the world somehow quietly, while we were wondering whether Donald Trump can cope with anything more complicated than a paperclip, has taken a massive step towards eliminating cervical cancer. And it's all down to the HPV vaccine rollout. So we've touched on this story before, but it is continually progressing. Since 2023 alone, more than 86 million girls in the countries most at risk have been vaccinated against HPV, the virus responsible for most cervical cancer cases. So that's 86 million people protected. And according to Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, that translates to an estimated 1.4 million women's lives saved in the future. 1.4 million. That is like saving the entire population of Birmingham, except nicer. This is part of a massive global surge. Right? The World Health Organization has even established World Cervical Cancer Elimination Day. And that's how you know they're not messing about anymore. More than a dozen countries launched vaccination programs just in the past year. Cuba, Pakistan, Rwanda, and a bunch more stepping up. It's one of the fastest expansions of a major vaccine program ever. Tedros, the WHO Director General, said more and more countries are scaling up HPV vaccination, improving screening, and expanding treatment, bringing us closer to a future free of cervical cancer. That is the WHO equivalent of shouting with pom-poms. Now, we can't cover this story without talking about Scotland, because Scotland has entered the chat in a big way. They've been vaccinating girls since 2008, and new research shows that there have been 0 cases of cervical cancer in vaccinated young women. Not
I love Scotland. Scotland's awesome.
Oh. Before you carry on, talking about places we love, all right? So, in the last month, thanks, America, you're listening to us. You're now 35% of our listening base.
Ooh,
So,
wow.
who we love at the moment, Virginia, you love us. We love you. Keep listening, Virginia. California, you've woken up. Thanks for listening. Tennessee,
Ooh.
Ohio, hello, Texas, New Jersey, Delaware, and Georgia. You're all welcome. We love
These are
you.
this is like you listing places that you haven't hurt Uranus.
Well, they will now, won't they? They'll hear it now. So, all of that in America, if you want to drop us a line, if you've ever been in that situation, let us know. Let us know. Anyway, carry on. This is really good, Jim.
Well, I think that's pretty much smashed the middle out of that story. So let's move on. Speaking of eliminating things, we'll pivot from deadly viruses to something only slightly less unpleasant, shall we, which is ticket touts. So this news is so shocking, so unprecedented, so wildly out of character for this country. The UK government has actually done something that helps normal people. I know, I had to sit down as well.
What?
The days of industrial scale ticket touting are numbered. The government has announced plans to make it illegal to resell tickets for more than their original price, including fees. So no more quadrupled resale price, no more mortgage houses say Oasis, no more bots beating you to the checkout like they're training for the Olympic 100 metres. Stu, this must be emotional for you. You get more gigs in a month than most people get in a decade. How many kidneys have you sold to ticket?
Yeah, I mean, it's out of hand. Do you know how they're going to stop this at all? Because I did listen, I was some touts on the radio the other day saying, well, we can get round this. I don't know the detail. Do you, how they're actually going to
No.
enforce it at
First,
this stage?
I don't think the government have really
Uh,
got particularly good on detail.
but it's a good conversation, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, the government reckon this crackdown could save fans around 112 million a year. And not each,
Yeah,
obviously. Well, it
yeah,
depends how many times you're seeing a races, obviously.
yeah.
But that's still a lot of money. That's enough to pay for, what, half a pint at a London venue? The idea is
Yeah,
lots of mega towns
yeah.
get shut down, fans get first dibs, and you ain't got some cheeky bit of AI kit buying 400 tickets to flog a resale site for the price of a family car. Resale platforms are furious about this, obviously. They say it'll create a black market, which is adorable because that's what you're already running. That's like Dracula saying if you ban biting, people might resort to sucking blood. Speaking of ticket fairness, football fans, this one's for you. The FA, yeah, the same FA who usually can't organise a picnic in a box, have announced that for Euro 2028, there will be no dynamic pricing. Now, for anyone who hasn't had the pleasure, dynamic pricing is when the price rises depending on demand. So you click refresh and suddenly the ticket costs more than the GDP of Cyprus. I was fortunate enough to be at the Euro final here in 2021. I only managed to get a ticket though, because it was given to me by someone who had already competed in the online equivalent of the Hunger Games, just with less food. Shelly, Gemma, I don't know if either of you have tried to buy football tickets during a major tournament.
Shockingly, I haven't. No.
It's like ticket hunger bingo. You don't know if you've won, lost, or been financially ruined. So the FA says, no, none of that, not this time. Prices are going to be fixed up front. Half the tickets will be in proper fan-friendly categories. I mean, they're still going to cost a lot of money, obviously, but still, makes a nice change for the FA to do something proactive instead of, waiting for things to fall over and then announcing an inquiry. I would like to take this opportunity to give praise to the artists who have been way ahead of this. The Cure capped their ticket prices. Robert Smith basically went to war with ticket platforms like some kinds of goth Batman, and he won. Now, if the Cure can make ethical business decisions while wearing 14 layers of eyeliner, then the government should be able to as well. And Gemma, you heard of a good one where, what was it, a gig was cancelled?
Yeah, there was hang on, I will have to call up the details, but basically a gig had kind of started to fill up, and a bunch of fans broke the barrier. So the standing area in front of the stage was overflowing. Like the capacity just meant that the gig had to be called for on safety grounds. It was an all ages gig. So to protect particularly the youth, but everyone, gig was cancelled. Obviously a lot of disappointed folk in the area, not least the band who were headlining. And bless them, they took to the socials, and I think it was in sure it was in Australia. I want to say it was in Melbourne. Put like 5 grand behind 5, 6 pubs in the city, and so their fans could go out and have little drinky pops, not have a totally
Cool.
Aw.
written off night, which I thought was a lovely little gesture.
Yeah.
I really want to find the name of the band because it has left my head.
It would be nice to give them that shout out. So
It
yeah,
would.
between the crackdown on touts and the FA banning dynamic pricing, might actually be a decent moment for fans. For real fans, people like us who just want to see a band without taking that small loan, or watch a football match without selling their nan on Facebook Marketplace. Does it solve everything? Well, Stu, you were asking about that. I mean, the answer is no. Tax are going to sneak round it. Absolutely. Human beings will do anything for a profit. Right now, someone is definitely planning a black market ticket telegram group from a shed in Reading. But at least the system's moving in the right direction. And yeah, it's quite nice to have a week where we can say the UK government did something positive. Unless they've already done a U-turn on it, that's possible. Next week, we might even just buy a ticket at face value just to see what it feels like.
I think the rhetoric is good. Bands like Oasis, they kind of got involved in dynamic pricing, didn't they?
They did.
And that was their decision to do that, because the band management, they make the call whether to tell Ticketmaster to dynamic price or not. So it does come from some artists, and obviously they've made a lot of money from that. Now, you said about the secondary sites, that used to be the black market, didn't it?
Yeah.
And they just came in and basically took the black market and said, we'll have this and we'll put that on our platforms. So really all that's going to happen, like you just said, is it'll go back
Go
to
back
the
to
black market.
again. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But I suppose at least it won't be quite so visible
Possibly.
and
Well,
harder to control, maybe.
maybe. I guess we'll just have to see. But, you know, hopefully there's something a little bit more positive behind it than that. Okay, Stuart, I'm going to pass over to you now. Another story about how people's lives are being made a bit better, this time by a new wave of guerrilla mosaic artists, people who are literally hacking the streets into pieces of art, probably to cheer themselves up at 3 a.m. Go for it.
Well, as you know, we're all surrounded by unloved structures and decaying pavements. But in the cracks of that dull uniformity, an explosion of colour is happening. A global movement of artists who are called guerrilla
Cheese.
guerrilla mosaists. Is that how you say it? Mosaists? Is that a word?
Guerrilla mosaics.
That's not a word, is that mosaists?
If you say it enough times, it is.
All right. They are called guerrilla mosaists. They are transforming our urban landscapes one tile at a time. They're not just repairing the damage, though. They are injecting unexpected joy, profound poetry, and deep community healing into our daily lives. The movement starts with the powerful rejection of the disposable culture. So this is in Lyon. There's a famous artist called MM, and is famous for a technique called flacking. He doesn't just fill in the cracks in the pavement, he installs intricate geometric tapestries using fragmented ceramic, marble, and wood. He calls it a repair, but also a poetic gesture. So think about that. Instead of throwing away what is broken, they're celebrating it. They are elevating the flaw into a feature. So there's another artist called Mo Star. He repaired a crater caused by a grenade from the Bosnian War, using the act to restore dignity and ensure that the memory, not the destruction, is preserved. This is restoration as an act of hope. So in Chicago, artist Jim Batchelor, he noticed endless potholes outside his home. And he said, got to fix these, got to fix them. So the council saying they're unfixable, but using glass and marble, he now creates installations that depict universal loves, such as ice cream, junk food, and flowers, right in the middle of the street. So it's a cheerful subversion. As he says, that's a nice contrast, isn't it? It's unexpected joy. Imagine walking down a frustrating street and suddenly seeing a beautiful miniature masterpiece underfoot.
So, like, how big are they then?
Well, just like pothole size,
Okay.
and in the cracks of the pavements. So we'll bring it back to here. Southampton, we've got Will Rosie, who installs bright cartoon-inspired mosaics, making his work permission vague street art. That's his headline. So he invites the community to participate. He turns a simple art project into a shared experience, pushing back against, urban decline and fostering the community that we were all missing. So again, bringing people together. Let's all go out, fill a pothole up, bring your art. What would you put in your pothole?
I beg your pardon. I know what you put in your pothole, but it hurts when you go in salt water.
Yeah.
So you're telling me if you live in Southampton, for example,
Yes.
you get to sleep at night, and when you wake up,
Yeah.
the alley behind the co-op looks like a medieval fever dream, basically.
Can do.
Yeah.
And also a bit like there's a Norwich thing, I don't know if anyone's aware, on post boxes where someone knits crochets of displays of the time of year and so on, Christmas and Easter. It's nice, isn't it? A bit of street art.
Also,
Sorry, Gemma.
They one local artist has done like rainbow coloured road signs. So instead of like your standard black on the white, they're kind of it's cute.
My favourite street art thing I saw is that when people were painting St George's flags on things, there was someone going around and repainting them into Battenbergs.
I like the tic-tac-toe
Yeah, I love
that was
that.
pairing
Which I
as
thought was
well.
beautiful. Yeah.
Well, mate,
Okay, so Jim, well, look, you've convinced me that secretly gluing tiny bits of broken bathroom tile to a wall at 2 a.m. might be a good way to improve our communities.
yeah, I
Um,
mean, it certainly beats, painting roundabouts with St George's
it certainly
Cross,
does.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, I think it's cheerful, cheers us all up. It's a community thing. So I'll look forward to seeing what's in your pothole, Jim.
Good.
Don't
Thanks,
put salt
Jim.
and mud in your pothole because we've all heard how that ends.
Can that be a new
things-
feature, Jim?
What's in your pothole?
Yeah.
How about that? Speaking of transformations, the next story Jem is bringing us is about someone who proved you don't need a chisel and grout to change the world. Sometimes all you need is a banned book smuggled into solitary confinement. Gemma, take us from illegal tiles to illegal literature, please.
As a 16 to 17-year-old, Reginald Betts was prosecuted as an adult for a carjacking which took place in Virginia and spent nearly a decade behind bars. As a young man, this could have set his story on a sadly all too familiar route. However, whilst in solitary confinement, Reginald's fellow inmates managed to smuggle him a copy of Dudley Randall's The Black Poets, which he claims dramatically changed his life. Not only did Reginald read at every opportunity, but he was also inspired to write. The one seemingly small event of reading a book which struck a chord completely changed the trajectory of this man. Upon his release from prison, he earned a bachelor's degree and a law degree from Yale. On top of becoming a poet, a teacher of poetry, spending time working in public law, and the spokesman for the Campaign for Youth Justice, which looks to reform like the whole youth prison thing in America. In 2020, he also founded Freedom Reads, a not-for-profit organisation with the mission of placing a freedom library in every cell block in every prison in America. There is an emphasis on community. The design of the libraries encourages discussion. There are book circles, all encouraging positive interactions. A quote from a guy called Chief Bear, who was an inmate of Maine prison, said it was kind of like seeing children on Christmas morning after all the presents were opened. I saw a couple of people out of their cells who you never see unless it's mealtime. The saying of freedom begins with a book is spot on.
Is Chief Bear a real bear?
I would not like to comment or speculate on whether Chief Bear is a real bear.
Duke, you get on that one for us, please.
Chief Bear. All right.
Chief Bear.
So do carry on, Jem.
Do you think he could be like Native American?
Quite possibly.
I think we say First Nation now, don't we?
Do we? I wasn't sure.
It's not Red Indians anymore, is it? Cut that
I
out.
think that much is we can be certain of. Yeah.
You better cut that out.
As of August 2025, Freedom Reads has installed 500 Freedom Libraries in 51 adult and youth prisons across 15 states in America. Happy days.
I think the guy's creating almost as many libraries as the Tories shut down. That's impressive.
Well, I think I've read articles about people who are stuck in prison, and your mind is the only piece of freedom you got left, isn't it? So, if you've got access to a library, then, you might be incarcerated, but your mind's free and you can expand it. So I think that's an amazing thing, really, isn't it? And the fact he spread it out right across America.
Well, that's really turning something into like a bad situation into something positive.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
If
So, reading is freedom.
Absolutely. So shout out to Reginald Betts.
Exactly. And if one of those books has an equally awesome impact on just one other prisoner, happy days.
Absolutely. It shows the difference one man can make. On the subject of the difference that one man can make, Stu, tell us about a man who is spreading hope, not using books, but by using balloons and a red nose.
Oh, right, Jim, this is the clown in the war zone.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
We were saying about this last week, how it sounds like the title of a Smiths song.
Yeah, clown in the
Yeah.
war zone.
He's just a clown in the war zone.
That could be on our EP, couldn't it? Our Christmas
Yeah.
EP, along with
Biscuits of the night.
Biscuits of the Night.
Yeah, certainly a double ace.
Well, it's just play B side.
I think this
They,
could be a double ace.
they're quite different tonally, aren't they?
Oh,
The songs,
Yeah.
but that
That
shows, you
doesn't
know.
matter on this show. I think I demonstrated that quite well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is all over the place. Go on.
So, Mohammed Naif Salim, 18-year-old from Gaza, Palestine, has found an unlikely but critical vocation as a circus clown and children's entertainer, providing essential psychological support to hundreds of displaced children in northern Gaza. So, currently residing in northern Gaza, where much of the infrastructure has been destroyed by Israeli bombing, Salim notes the profound difficulty of daily life, particularly the struggle to secure food and water. Despite these immense challenges, he is one of the few individuals still actively working to provide emotional sustenance to the community. His daily routine involves preparing in his distinctive costume, bright overalls, exaggerated makeup, and a red nose and a top hat before travelling with his groups to various centres, including schools, sheltering thousands of displaced children. So, primary objective of his work is to offer psychological support to the severely traumatised youth, with nearly half the population under 18 who are reporting catastrophic mental health issues. They carried out a survey. 96% of children feel death is imminent, 79% suffer nightmares, 72% exhibit aggression, and 17,000 children are now unaccompanied. So his performance, which include juggling, riding his bike, magic tricks, games, it's just a bit of joy and a bit of light in their day. He states that his greatest satisfaction comes from seeing them laugh and giving them hope. And he also says he thinks, you know, if he can try to get people to take the mind off it briefly, that can then help them with their resilience. And also, you know, just get away from the audible sounds of drones and explosions. And his own house was destroyed as well. So he said the emotional toll is severe, but despite the hardship, he remains committed to his purpose. He views his art as a powerful force for good, and he states that laughter overpowers the sound of drones. His hope is for the future is to continue to make children happy globally and raise the awareness of the situation and just bring joy and protection through the art of being a clown. What a good guy.
Yeah.
What a
Is
great
he
guy.
like
The
quite a
daily
novel?
commute is dodging drones. Maybe a
Yeah.
career in clowning feels like the most rational thing to do.
Yeah, and I think, the very human side of that conflict is, imagine just being, imagine being a kid growing up in that environment. You can't imagine it, can you? You just can't imagine that daily. Must be absolutely terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. So, people who are kind of trying to, help kids who are affected by this has only got to be a good thing. So, big up to him.
So if you can bring joy to kids in the middle of a war zone, then, you deserve a Nobel Prize, a Netflix special, and, I don't know, a free Pret sandwich a week. Now, speaking of bringing life back to places that need it, we're heading somewhere a bit less chaotic now, depending on how you feel about midges. Because whilst we have clowns trying to restore smiles in Gaza, up in Scotland, they're trying to restore actual ecosystems. Gemma, you got the story of how Scotland's going full return to the wild, yes?
I have. I'm going to keep this one relatively brief, but the 20th landholding has signed up to a community-led initiative to rewild them their glens. The Glen Affric National Nature Reserve has signed up to this initiative. It is arguably one of the most beautiful glens in Scotland. I've not been. I can't personally comment on that. Stu, as the man who
Yeah. I like
travels.
I like Glenn Close.
See what you did there.
That's the second time I've seen Jim give you a look that was full of hate.
In what time period?
Just this evening.
I was going to say, because it can't have been only the second time.
Only spotted 2. You haven't been paying attention, Shelly.
You did ask me what my favourite glen was.
No, just
The glen is home to one of the largest and last remaining fragments of Caledonian forest, a unique habitat that has been reduced to less than 2% of its original extent. The aim now is to expand the forest and restore other habitats while opening up opportunities for tourism. This is a huge step forwards for the entire area to become richer in nature with new opportunities for people, said Stephanie Keel, Rewilding Afric Highlands Executive Director.
Yeah,
That's quite a job title.
It
amazing,
is, isn't it?
amazing.
Yeah.
Although those midges, they do bite, don't they?
They
Do we want them back?
They may
I
be
mean, they're
bringing
still-
measures to limit the midges while upping
They're
the.
still there. They've not like gone.
Yeah, but if you rewild, you'll get more, won't you? That's like, when I was away, I kept getting bitten. Some really nasty bites. So I could do without them, to be honest. But that said, it's all part of the ecosystem, so that's a good thing, isn't it? It is a good thing. What do you think, Jim?
I think, lovely listeners, that brings us to the end of another episode of Everything's Fine, probably.
Oh, Jim, can I just cut in there? Gemma wants to say something.
Does she?
I do, yes, because I looked up the band.
Oh, excellent. Yes. Who are they?
They are the Australian punk band Amel and the Sniffers.
Oh, I love Amel and the Sniffers. I've
Yeah.
seen them.
And now you
They're
love them
brilliant.
more. Not only did they
Oh.
put the £35,000 behind like 7 bars, they split that 35k, but also the gig itself was free.
Fantastic.
It was a homecoming gig and it was a freebie. So
They're good Aussie rockers.
Okay, good. Thank you. Well, that brings us to the end of another episode of Everything's Fine, probably the show that bravely asks, is the world getting better? And then answers in places, probably. Just don't look too closely. We've covered so much today. Clowns in war zones, animals getting break for once, rewilding Scotland, libraries appearing in prisons, and somewhere in there we pretended to know what the FA was doing. Honestly, if you stitch this episode together into a film, critics would call it ambitious but concerning. Before we go, we need to do the important bit. Yes, that bit, the nagging. Please, for the love of all things algorithmic, like the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast, tell a friend about the podcast, tell an enemy, they need cheering up too. Tell your nan, she won't know what a podcast is, but she'll be impressed that you do. And leave reviews if you can do that. 5 stars ideally, 4 stars if you feel mysterious. 3 stars if you're trying to hurt us, but not completely ruin our day. And don't forget to follow us on social media. We're everywhere you want to be. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and even pointless though it is, Threads. We'll be back next week with even more stories of hope, chaos, and, well, look, it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. Until then, take deep breaths, relax, and remember that everything's fine.